John, are we good? Does he have a public hearing?
No, it's ordinance.
Having a public hearing or no public hearing?
No.
But he can, when, is he looking to speak tonight or not speak?
Just in case the councilors have any questions. Is the item on the second page.
Okay, so we're,
But he doesn't need to be on the agenda, on here,
okay,
on the public participation, because he's already on the agenda.
okay, all right,
But he got confused.
okay. Can you please check with me and make sure that I can start? I think I
Okay.
can, but I'm not sure. We're good to go? Okay, we're good to go, Teresa, thank you. Hold on. Good evening. This is the Lawrence City Council meeting. Today is Tuesday, October 5th, pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. The public meeting of the Lawrence City Council is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Members of the public attending this meeting in person or virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearings designated for public comment in person or by use of the web and the phone access provided at our Facebook Lawrence City Council page, the YouTube Lawrence City Council page, and through the Zoom address. At this point, I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilor Estela Reyes. Absent. Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez. Councilor Rodriguez. Absent. Councilor Maria Dela Cruz. Absent. Councilor Pavel Payano. Can you hear them?
I can't hear them.
Councilor Pavel Payano. Absent. Councilor David Abdu.
Present.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Present.
Councilor George Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilor Anna Levy. Absent. President Mark LaPlante.
Present.
We do not. Only 4 responded present, although we do apparently have people on Zoom.
We do not have a quorum at this point, so we are going to wait until we have enough city councilors to make a quorum. Councilor Rodriguez, can you hear me?
Tell them to unmute.
Councilor Rodriguez, can you hear me? Councilor Rodriguez?
He needs to unmute.
He can't even hear me. Councilor Rodriguez? Can you hear me, Councilor Rodriguez? Could you ask him to say a few words?
Hi there.
Very good. We can hear you. Can you hear us, Counselor? Okay, Counselor. We do have a quorum now, but I feel almost like it's unfair to start this when they can't get in.
Can't hear anything at all. Nobody. Hello, everybody. We are on this side, so just want to make sure that we cannot hear anything.
Can you hear me now, Counselor?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, yes.
Counselor. Good evening, counselors. At this point, just a little best management practices as we go forward. And Counselor Rodriguez, can you hear me now? Yes. Counselor Payano, are you with us at this point? I know Counselor Dela Cruz is here now. One of the things that will be helpful for the folks in the back room is as soon as you're recognized to speak, give it a 1 or a 2 second count. What happens in the back room is that they have to switch microphones and levers, and you got to give them a second or two to switch it, or else we'll have an immediate feedback. To avoid the feedback, if we could I'll recognize you, and just give a moment or two, and then they can move over. So at this point, I'm going to ask the clerk again to call the roll.
Vice President Estela Reyes. Absent. Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez. Councilor Maria Dela Cruz.
Present.
Councilor Pavel Piano. Councilor David Abdu.
Present.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Present.
Councilor George Gonzalez.
Present.
Councilor Anna Levy. Absent. President Mark LaPlante.
Present. Clerk, do we have a quorum?
We do.
Thank you. At this point, will you please rise and join me in a moment of silence? Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, counselors. The first item right now are minutes for council approval for September 23rd. Is there a motion to approve the September 23rd minutes?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilor Abdu, seconded by Councilor Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Levy. Absent. Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor David Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Pavel Piano.
Yes.
Councilor Maria Dela Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes. Absent. President Mark LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. At this time, we're doing public participation. The rules remain the same. You have 2.5 minutes to give your comments. There will be a bell rung at the 2-minute mark to give you warning that you have 30 seconds left to finish your comments. Again, please do not single out any members of the City Council, but address the council as a whole. The first person this evening is Mr. Mali. Mr. Mali.
Good evening, honorable members. In this important election year, we the citizen demand of you support Lawrence police officers and their union. Lawrence Police Department, with the impeccable leadership by Honorable Chief Roy Vask, has done excellent job to protect our citizens. Contract for Lawrence Police now. We demand of you declare September 13 each year the day of the police appreciation for our police officers and their great union. Million thanks to our DPW workers. Their union in Lawrence is a beautiful city because of their hard working. They deserve the best raise. Lawrence Public School, with the impeccable leadership by Honorable Superintendent Cynthia Paris, one of the best superintendents in the history of Lawrence, on the way to become the best public school in our nation. Million thanks to Honorable Superintendent Paris for bringing our crossing guards back to our public school. We, the citizens, know how much she cares about safety. 83,000 citizens are behind Lawrence Teachers Union. In this worst pandemic of the century, our citizens disappointed with the performance of Massachusetts Attorney General Maura Haley. She has done nothing. We, the Laurentian, proud that our city is the best example of support of the union, police officer union, firefighters union, DPW, and teachers union. Lawrence Police now remember your campaign for promise Safe Lawrence, Prosper Lawrence, only possible if you support Lawrence Police and their union. Our city will rise from the ashes of this global pandemic. We are united to say with one voice, Lawrence always strong, Lawrence always unite. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Richard Russell.
Good evening, councilors. My name is Richard Russell, 34 Cross Street. First, a big thank you to the city for allowing Day of Remembrance to use the center for its annual commemoration of murder victims in the local area. A week ago, I attended the Ordinance Committee meeting. One thing that came out of that meeting was the proliferation of requests for handicap parking, mostly in front of people's homes. It also came out that there might be a cottage industry with the local healthcare system apparently willing to hand out doctor's notes to justify the application for a handicap placard to the Mass RMV. The RMV can't deal with out-of-state drunk driving cases, but they appear to be able to handle out handicap placards. I offer this as a friendly suggestion from a concerned citizen. Why can't the city establish a fee to determine if the application is valid? The fee could be $50 or $75. The determination of validity of the application could fall to the Board of Health. A small portion of the fee could go to the members of the Board of Health for their time in the investigative process. A small portion of the fee could go to the LPD for the same reason. You may ask, why the fee? Well, in my humble opinion, these parking spaces, the handicap parking spaces, are, for the most part, for the convenience of the homeowners and are not of medical necessity. Another comment that was made was the number of motor vehicles in the city. Why doesn't the LPD reinstitute the license plate readers and cruise the streets in the off-peak hours and document any and all out-of-state registered vehicles? The creation of a database of out-of-state plates and their locations shouldn't be too hard to do, with the ability to tell how long a vehicle has been in the city and its location. As always, I thank you for the time.
Thank you. Looking remotely to see if there's anybody here to speak on public participation, and I don't believe that there is. At this point, I'm going to hand off the City Council sign-up sheet to the City Clerk for the records. At this point, Councilor Levy, do you wish to be recognized? Council sign-up sheet to the City Clerk. Councilor Levy, do you wish to be recognized? Sign-up sheet to the City Clerk.
Yes.
Councilor Levy, do you wish to be recognized?
Yes.
Clerk,
I'm
please
present.
Please count the City Councilor Levy is present for this meeting. Thank you, Councilor Levy. Next, I'll be looking to the Budget and Finance Committee reports. The first document this evening is document number 19521. Budget and Finance Committee Chair, Mr. Abdu.
The Budget and Finance Committee met on September 29th and recommended by unanimous vote in favor of document number 19521, acceptance of funds up to $5,000, Mass Chiefs of Police, as submitted by Eileen Burnell, and I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
A motion has been made and seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
No, that was somebody else. Continuing with the roll, we'll do Giovanni one more, Council Rodriguez one more time.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Counselor Maria De La Cruz?
Yes.
Counselor Payano?
Yes.
Counselor Abdu?
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Levy?
yes,
President LaPlante?
Yes. The motion passes. The next document is document number 19621. Budget Committee Chairman, Mr. Abdu.
Thank you, Mr. President. Budget and Finance Committee met on September 29th, voted by unanimous consent to recommend to this body document number 19621, acceptance of funds up to $20,000 relating to the 2021 naloxone grant as submitted by Eileen Brunel. I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
The motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy?
yes,
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Abdu?
Yes.
Counselor Payano?
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz?
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes? Absent. President LaPlante?
Yes. The motion passes. If there's no objections, councilors, I'd like to move up document number 21521. Because it is a police department, we'll keep them together. If there's no objection, Mr. Abdu, will you please read the committee report?
Gladly. On September 29th, the Budget and Finance Committee recommended by unanimous vote item number 21521, appropriation transfer from salaries 012111-1510 to professional services 012111-53,000 in the amount of $117,000 for mental health clinicians as submitted by our police chief, Roy Vask. And I would submit that to you in the form of a motion.
Second.
Motion
Second.
has been made by Mr. Abdu, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Estela Reyes? Absent. Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz?
Yes.
Counselor Payano? Counselor Abdu?
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Levy?
yes,
President LaPlante?
Yes.
President LaPlante, just want to make sure that my vote was a yes.
Clerk, how did you record Councilor Payano's vote?
Is a yes?
Councilor Payano is voted as a yes. Thank you. The next, Mr. Chairman of the Budget Committee, document number 19921.
Thank you, Mr. President. On September 29th, the Budget and Finance recommends by unanimous vote document number 19921, the approval of additional funding or funding transfers for November 2nd, 2021 municipal election as submitted by our new city clerk, Diane P. LeBlanc, and I submit that to you in the form of a motion.
A motion has been made,
Second.
seconded by Councilor De La Cruz. Discussion? If there's no discussion, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll. Clerk?
Counselor Levy? Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Abdu?
Yes.
Counselor Payano?
Yes.
Counselor Maria De La Cruz?
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Counselor Estela Reyes? Absent. President LaPlante?
Yes. The next listings are the Intergovernmental Relations Committee reports. If there's no objection, we have several people here for one particular item. I believe that the vice chair is Councilor De La Cruz. Are you the vice chair of the Ordinance Committee?
Yes.
If there's no objection, just because we have a crowd here this evening, I'd like to take document number 19221. If there's no objection, we'll take that one out of order. So no objection. Councilor De La Cruz, you have the floor for this committee report, and then we'll go back in order.
Thank you. Thank you, Council President. Item 1, document 19221, Christmas lighting on O'Neill Park, 11/27/2021, José Dávila, Instituto Cultural de Puerto Rico.
What's your committee report? So there's a motion to approve
It
this
is a
item.
motion to approve item, document 19221.
Is there a second? And seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Is there any discussion amongst the members of the city council? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
I just want to do a simple comments.
Did you want to say something, Councilor De La Cruz?
Yes,
All right,
yes.
go ahead, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Davila, and thank you for bringing such a wonderful activity to the community. We are here to give you the support, and we hope that everything goes well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Motion to approve?
If there's no other discussion on this matter, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll. Clerk?
Councilor Estela Reyes, absent. Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Piano.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Reyes, Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes, yes, yes.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Going back to the top of the ordinance committee section, document number 7221, Vice Chair of the Ordinance Committee, Councilor De La Cruz.
Council President, I don't have the result of all the petitions, but I will call the item one by one.
That's in order, and if I can, I'll try to help you as you go along, Councilor.
Okay, thank you. Document 7221, handicap parking, 32 Jackson Street, Joyceman, Cabrera, and it has been ordered for a public hearing.
A motion is in document at 7221 for a public hearing.
Second.
And it's been seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Piano.
Yes.
Councilor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. Councilor De La Cruz, document number 9121.
Document 9121, 15-minute parking in front of 109-113 South Union Street from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. It was put on the agenda by President Council LaPlante, and it was ordered a public hearing.
A motion has been made, seconded by Councilor Gonzalez, and that was my mistake. That is document number 9021. That was my mistake, not 91. So that's 9021. Motion has been made to order public hearing. It has been seconded. Any discussions on the ordering of a public hearing? Hearing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Estela Reyes, absent. Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes. Yes.
Councilor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Piano.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. Councilor De La Cruz, document number 9121.
Document 9121, stop signs on Foster Street, northbound and southbound of the Baxford Street intersection. It was put on the agenda by President LaPlante, and it's ordered a public hearing.
Motion has been.
Motion to approve?
Motion to order a public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy. Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion is adopted. Vice Chairman of the Ordinance Committee, document number 11521.
Document 11521, 15 minutes parking, 88 Auburn Street, corner of Russell Street, 3J Market, put in the agenda by Ingrid Bruno and Councilor Selena Reyes. Motion to order the public hearing.
A motion has been made to order a public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Estela Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez. Counselor Rodriguez?
He said yes.
Okay. Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion is adopted. The next item is document number 12821. Councilor De La Cruz.
Document 12821, handicap parking, 83 Springfield Street, put in the agenda by Major Kendry Vasquez, ordered a public hearing.
Motion's been made to order a public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy. Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez. Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. The next document is document number 16821. Vice Chair of the Ordinance Committee.
Document 16821, no parking on the north side of Byron Avenue from 78 Byron Avenue to Columbus Avenue. It was put in the agenda by Councilor Payano to order a public hearing.
Motion's been made to order a public hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Payano. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Estela Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Reyes. Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. The next document is document number 17021. Vice Chair.
Document 17021, change Montgomery Street one-way, put on the agenda by Councilor Maria de la Cruz to order a public hearing.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion carries. The next document is document number 18621. Vice Chair of the Ordinance Committee.
Document 17221, no parking here to corner Chancellor Street, removed from 105th to 25th to the corner. It was put in the agenda by Councilor Gonzalez to order a public hearing.
Motion is made to order a public hearing. Is there a second? It's seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Estela Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes. Yes. Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion is adopted. Now, document number 186, Council Vice Chair.
Document 18621, disclosure by municipal employee Maria Holleran. Motion to approve.
Motion made to approve the document. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. The next document is document number 19121, Vice Chair of the Ordinance Committee.
Document 19121, road opening, trench and obstruction Appleton Street, corner of S Street. Put in the agenda by F.W. Madigan. Motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve the permit for document 19121. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. The next document is document number 19421, Vice Chair Dela Cruz.
Document 19491, National Grid and Verizon, 15 Union Street, put in the agenda by Dave Johnston, Supervisor, Distributor, and Designer. Put in the agenda by, or to order a public hearing, and motion to approve.
Public hearing for that one? Should be a public hearing
What's
for
that?
that?
It's just,
Just for a public hearing, right?
it was a motion to order a public hearing.
A motion is made to order a public hearing on 19421, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy. Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor Estela Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion carries. The next
Council President, I'm
Councilor
going
Dela
to
Cruz.
call item 218.
What is she looking for?
We're almost done. We're going pretty quick. Can we just, we're going pretty good without anybody objecting. All right. Document number 19721, Vice Chair.
Document 19721, approval of early voting location and schedule for November 2nd, 2021, municipal election by Diane LeBlanc, City Clerk. Order, motion to approve.
Motion's been made, has been seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Discussion? Councilor Rodriguez, do you wish to have the floor?
No, I wish to know the item. I lost it. I couldn't hear the item number. The item number on the agenda.
I'm going to ask John to turn up the volume. Councilor Rodriguez, if you could say that one more time, please. And then I see Councilor Piano hands up. Go ahead, Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes, I would like to know the item that we're discussing at this point. I lost track for a second.
This is document number 19721, approval of the early voting. Councilor Rodriguez, do you have anything to add on this or reset?
I'm wondering to know about the item number, that's all. I'm following the agenda right now.
Councilor Payano.
Could, I think this is a good opportunity to just inform the public of what the dates are for early voting. If the clerk could inform just the public of that date. I know that there was a calendar presented as part of this motion.
Sure,
It'd be great to just sort of read it out in public for those that are watching.
Thank you, Counselor. Early voting, the early voting schedule for the November municipal election, early voting will take place Monday, October 25th, from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Tuesday, October 26th, from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Wednesday, October 27th, from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Thursday, October 28th, from 8:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Friday, October 29th, from 8:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Those are the dates and times for early voting, which will take place at the Lawrence City Hall, right here in the council chamber. The address of the Lawrence City Hall is 200 Common Street, and the City Council Chambers is located on the first floor.
Very good. If there's no further discussion on this, I'll ask, Councilor Levy, do you wish to speak on this matter?
Yes. I would like to know why this year we will not have usually we have like a Saturday. Why this year we don't know using the Saturday day?
Counselor, it's my understanding that there was a Saturday for, I think it might have been the presidential election. I was not here. These were the hours that were determined to be most effective. I don't think they had a lot of turnout on the Saturday. They changed the hours. They eliminated the Saturday for the preliminary election and did the Monday through Friday, and that actually worked out very well for people. So they kept the same hours this time around. And I would add that as we did with the early voting schedule for the preliminary election, we will also publicize these dates and times, and we will publish it in the newspaper.
Mr. President.
Through you, Mr. President.
I think Councilor Levy is completed with her comments, I believe. Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, for recognizing my opportunity to speak on this matter. I just want to make sure that people up there knows that there is going to be 2 days of the week that we're going to have long standard days up to 7 p.m. that they're going to be able to go on boat. So for those folks that are working late after 6, we're going to have 2 days. 2 days that we're going to be having the early voting up to 7 p.m. and that's going to be Tuesday the 26th, and also Thursday the 28th. So if people wishing to go ahead and vote and it's passing 6 p.m., they have 2 opportunities within that week to go ahead and do the early voting.
Any other comments by members of the council? Hearing none. Clerk, this is for document number 197, approval of the early voting location and schedule. Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez. Counselor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. The next document is document number 19821, Vice Chair of the Ordinance Committee.
Document 19821, approval of polling locations for November 2nd, 2021, municipal election by Diane LeBlanc, City Clerk. Motion to approve?
There's a motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Gonzalez. Discussion. Councilor Levy?
Can you hear her?
I cannot.
Okay.
We're gonna have to give her a second. Counselor Levy, we wanted to hear your comments, but we're unable to. I'm going to ask John in the control room to help with that. And Counselor Levy, we did not hear any of that. So give it about 3 seconds after I finish speaking. Give it a 3-second count, and then start again so we can hear your comments on this matter. Counselor Levy, I am told by people in the know that you can speak now, and I think we're going to be able to hear you. Give it a 2-second count and go for it.
Okay, can you hear me now? Perfect. When people are going to start to receiving information regarding the different pool locations, principal the people on Essex Tower, that the president that was there was moved to the Gilmer School. So there were a lot of confusion at the past election.
I didn't hear the question.
I believe it was more of a statement that at the Essex Towers, Counselor Levy stated that there was a lot of confusion at that polling location. She wasn't asking a question, she was making a statement, I believe.
No, it was a question.
Council President, I believe that was a question. Councilor Levy was trying to find out when the folks that had their location changed.
At Essex Towers, that will clearly tell people where their new voting location is. All of those voters were notified, but we need to do more, and we will have very visible signage
At Essex Towers, telling people where they need to go to vote.
May I speak on this matter?
Counselor Payano, did you wish to speak? I'm not sure if you were wanting to speak on this matter.
Yes,
I did, Council President, but my question was answered.
Oh, very good. Thank you, sir. And now, Counselor Rodriguez, you wish to add one more thing?
Yes. That's District D, specifically D3 and D4. They were moved to the location of D2, which is the Gilmer School. Most of the people around that area, especially the people from the Essex Tower, which they used to have D3 and D4 in that location, they were confused until the last day.
Yes.
We need to understand that, folks living on those locations, they're elderly, there's 50, 55 and older, and they not probably get the notification that we sent. And they were suggesting, coming out of them, that we should have a visible huge signs, probably 4 feet by 8 feet signs on their board to actually specify the location with big letters saying the new voting location is at the Gilmet School, 80 Baldwin Street. That's a suggestion coming from them, and that way a lot of people doesn't stay at the building waiting for a place to vote, like most of the elderlies around there were, and also people from the area in general, perhaps people from the Hancock's project, that now they don't have to go to 45 Broadway. They can just go straight up to the Gilmet, which is closer. But what happened, they were just going over, get discouraged because the place wasn't there, and never voted. So it was the turnout on D3 and D4, they were not as expected. Obviously low, and I think that we can do a better job in terms of communicating, since not even the elected officials were aware that D3 and D4 were changed to the Gilmet. And to be honest with you, my personal opinion, as a councilor for that district, that was a mistake, because the violation that was at the access tower was corrected, and it was a violation 2 years ago, an ADA violation, which was corrected, but the conversation of the couple of conversations that happened throughout didn't have the latest information as of the correction of that matter, which was very simple to correct it, and it was corrected. But at this point, what we need to look forward is making sure that, that voters around D3 and D4 voters have that information, and especially people that are going to 18 Franklin and 45 Broadway, to have them go back to the Gilmet School, which is 80 Baldwin Street. It is extremely frustrated, but we need to move forward, and for next year, correct this issue.
Thank you very much, Councilor. Are there any other councilors who wish to speak before we call the roll?
Councilor President,
Councilor De La Cruz.
I have a recommendation that the signs to be in place like a week before, that people know exactly where they have to go and vote, because people were calling like crazy, and I didn't know what to say, but it's good that they know ahead of time where they have to go, because they're going to need transportation to move around.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President, can I ask who, I know the motion was made by by Councilor De La Cruz. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Councilor Levy. Councilor Levy?
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Councilor Abdul?
Yes.
Councilor Payano? Okay. Councilor De La Cruz?
Yes.
Councilor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilor Estela Reyes absent. President LaPlante?
Yes. Did the clerk get Councilor Payano's vote?
Councilor Payano?
Yes. Yes.
All set.
The clerk is recorded. Councilor Payano is yes? Okay, thank you. The next document is document number, it passes. The next document is number 26121, Vice Chair of the Ordinance Committee, Councilor De La Cruz.
Document 20621, 206?
Yes.
Yeah. Document 20621, Electionary Ordinance, Diane LeBlanc, City Clerk. Motion to approve.
It's actually a motion to order a public hearing.
Go to the public hearing.
Is there a second? Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
President,
Oh,
through
oh,
you.
before we call the roll, Councilor Levy, yes.
Can you explain to the public what is going to be the ordinance for this item, the Legionary Ordinance?
What's the question?
I think what the councilor is asking is a little more about what this proposal is. Am I right, Councilor Levy? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Counselor, currently, the city of Lawrence does not have a local ordinance that governs whether or not people can campaign in and around government buildings. And given that we are going to be using City Hall for early voting again very soon in October, we used it for early voting for the preliminary election. What came about, and Counselor, you yourself approached me and asked me, well, what about the 150-foot rule, right? People who are involved in politics and who do campaigning know that on election day, when you go to your polling location, you're told that you can't actively campaign within 150 feet of the entrance of the polling location. What most did not realize is that the state's advisory regarding the 150-foot rule did not apply to early voting locations. And what does apply to early voting locations is your local municipal ordinance. And again, Lawrence didn't have one, so this essentially models the 150-foot rule that applies on election day to any location that the city might choose to use going forward for an early voting location, whether it's City Hall, whether it's another municipal building, or whether it's a non-municipal building that the city designates as the early voting location. And the ordinance was crafted by the law department.
Thank you. And as a reminder, this is going to have a public hearing on this, so we're not voting on that this evening. Councilor Levy, anything else you wish to add, or can we call the roll?
So to make it very clear, so from now on any early also voting, we're gonna comply with the 140 fix for the, also for the date of the election.
That is correct. If after the public hearing at the next meeting, this is adopted, then yes, that will take place. That will be the law.
Very clear, so people understand what is the arrow, that we are putting right now for approval. Thank you so much, Mr. President and Ms. Clear, also. That's it, Clear.
If there's no further discussion, do you want to
I
say
do
something?
have a question, Council
Councilor
President.
Dela Cruz?
Do we need the 30 days to waive the 30 days? Because we don't have the time.
Councilor, that would be advisable after the public hearing. If there is a motion to approve after the public hearing, it would be advisable at that point to then waive the 30 days.
Waive the 30 days.
Seeing no further discussion on this matter, clerk, I'll ask, please call the roll.
Counselor Estela Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion carries. The next document is document number 20921. Council Vice Chair of the Ordinance Committee.
Document 20921, disclosure of municipal employee Adely Gonzalez, acting recreation director. Motion to approve.
There's a motion
Second.
to approve, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Abdu,
Yes.
Counselor Piano,
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz,
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez,
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
Yes. Would you please tell me Counselor Levy's vote on that, please? I'm not sure if she voted yes or present on that.
I have Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Yes, we have that right.
Thank you. The next document is that motion carries, passes. The next one is document 21021, Vice Chair of the Ordinance Committee.
Document 21021, disclosure of municipal employees, Sandy Almonte, Director of Police and Community Relations. To order,
To approve.
to approve.
Motion made to adopt and
Second.
approve document number 21021, seconded by Counselor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez,
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz,
Yes.
Counselor Piano,
Yes.
Counselor Abdu,
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Levy,
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion carries. The next document is document number 21721. Madam Vice Chair.
Document 21721, my friends and neighbors get together Camp on Common, 10/24/21 from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Put in the agenda by Jose Galan. Motion to approve.
Motion to
Second.
approve and seconded by Counselor Selena Reyes. Any discussions by members of the council? Hearing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy,
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes,
Yes.
Counselor Abdu,
Yes.
Counselor Piano, Counselor De La Cruz,
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez,
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. The last document under these committee documents is document number 21821, Madam Vice Chair.
Document 21821, City Hall parking lot evaluation and design by Mr. Felix Garcia. Motion to approve.
To a permit and approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Gonzalez. Discussion.
Council President.
Hold on.
So this is a motion to approve, and I believe the motion to approve was out of the three options. What came out of the committee was option number 3
Number 3.
on
yes.
this. And so I'm not sure if any counselors have questions regarding this. There were 3 total. Did you have a brief presentation to tell the council what you're looking to do here? You have the floor. After you give your brief presentation, I see that Counselor Piano has a question, so you give your presentation first, and then I'm going to recognize Counselor Piano.
Test. All right. 1 2 1 2. All right.
Please, Mr. Garcia, if you wouldn't mind identifying. Please identify yourself and start your brief presentation.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Felix Garcia Jr. I'm the city engineer for the city of Lawrence, and I live on 21 Ferry Street, Lawrence, Mass. What you have in front of you is a few options for the update or upgrade for the parking lot next to the city hall. The parking lot, as of now, is in poor condition, and is also not compliant. It's not ADA compliant. So what we have here, option 3 is what I recommend. But we have other options just in case if option 3 doesn't go through. So for option 3, we have what we want to do is the space for the cars. They're currently not to standard.
Mr. Garcia, if you wouldn't mind, I think someone is looking to make a point of parliamentary inquiry, of which we will recognize. Mr. Rodriguez, did you wish to have a point? You'll need to say it again, sir.
Motion to recess.
Second.
There's been a motion to recess, and there's been a second.
You can just reset.
Didn't even present it.
There was a motion to, did you want to make a motion to table first and then recess, or just recess?
Just recess.
Recess until we find out the issues that we have here. We cannot communicate.
Okay, there's a motion to recess. There has been properly seconded by Mr. Payano. Any discussions? If not, I'll ask the clerk. I guess the purpose is to try to fix whatever problems we're facing right now with the audio. Clerk, please call the roll.
We'll start again.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. Councilor Giovanni Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes, we're in a brief recess.
I hope it is.
Call the chair. What are we trying to do here, folks?
Well, we're recessed, so we shouldn't be,
Well, that's a good point. Can't hear.
maybe get him on the phone.
You gotta try.
I just sent them what you sent me. I sent it to them. Yeah, the updated one. Yeah. We're good.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello?
Let them say no.
I'm just talking about. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll just do a quick introduction. Really, real brief. We have some options here for, and then one of the concerns is for option 3. We have a parking attendant, but I asked for parking for option 3.
I'm looking for a motion to come out of recess. Is there a
That's
motion?
just a concern.
Motion to approve?
So from who made that?
There's a motion by Mr. Rabdi to come out of recess. It's been seconded
Second.
by Councilor Dela Cruz. Roll call vote, please.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez. Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Piano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Estela Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
Yes, we are now out of recess. Just a couple of housekeeping things. The reason why we're out of recess, I think we fixed some of the problems. We had at the podium a mic that the batteries were dead, so some of the counselors who are with us remotely could not hear. Those batteries have been changed, and so we should be able to hear Mr. Garcia at this point for his presentation. The other part of it as well is that I'm asking the counselors who are remote to use the feature in the Zoom. Mr. Piano has it on right now. His hand is up, so I see that he'll want to speak. And so when I see your hand up, that's a good way for me to know that you want to speak. And I will see that, and I will acknowledge that, and you will hear me say something. I see Councilor Piano's hand is up, so you know that I've seen it. And then we'll move forward in that direction. Councilor Piano, do you still wish to speak, or do you want Mr. Garcia to finish his presentation or begin it?
Thank you, Council President. So I do wish to speak. It could be that I might raise my hands again after City Engineer's presentation. So I was trying to make a motion before we got to this. Not a motion. I was trying to ask a question before we got to this motion, which is I wanted to ensure that my vote was marked as yes. I said yes, but not sure if it was skipped over or not.
Just so we can correct this now, which vote did you have a question on?
So, for the previous motion.
The previous motion was on 2/17/21, Friends and Neighbors Get Together Campagnone Park.
I believe, I have to scroll up to the agenda. I believe whichever motion that we did before this one.
Yes.
You will recognize Mr. Piano as a yes on document 2/17/21, and just so we have no ambiguity on the one previous to that is 2/10/21. What is Mr. Piano's vote on 2/10/21? Just to make sure we're clear.
It is a yes.
He is recognized as voting a yes on both of those.
Okay, sorry.
I think we're good. All right, so now I'm gonna ask Mr. Garcia to continue or begin, and then I will be very attentive to the counselors as I have been, frankly, on Zoom. So, Mr. Garcia, you have the floor. Give us a brief presentation, as to why, what they are and why you choose 3 or recommend 3.
Thank you, President, Councilor LaPlante. So my name is Felix Garcia Jr. I'm the city engineer for the city of Lawrence. And to my left, I have John Bobrick. He is the designer for what we're gonna propose. So there are some issues with the parking lot that's next to City Hall. It's deteriorated and also non-compliant, is not ADA compliant. So we have some options here. And I recommend option 3, and we'll talk about that in a second. But
Mr. Garcia, if you could hold, Mr. Rodriguez, did you have a point of parliamentary career, or you just want to make sure that I see your hand when the discussion goes forward?
I do. I would like to somehow have his presentation on the screen. So I have it on my screen. If you allow me to share it, that will be that will do it. Unless you want to share it.
Did you send it to everybody, Mr.?
I did send it to everyone.
Mr. Rodriguez, out of simplicity, because I don't have it in front of me, if you do, we can move this a little bit faster. Let me get you to share your screen. Okay. Thank you very much, Councilor. Mr. Garcia, you have the floor, and I can see it on the screen as well. Thank you so much, Councilor Rodriguez. Go ahead, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you. So we have a few options here. My recommendation would be option 3, but we're gonna talk about each option and why I choose option 3. But because John Bobrick is more intimate with the project, knows more about the numbers, he's gonna briefly talk about the options.
Good evening, everybody. John Bobrick Engineering in Danvers. So we were brought in to work on this project because of an ADA accessibility review of all city-owned properties. Back in 2019, this property at 234 Commerce Street is lacking adequate circulation and ADA parking, handicap vehicle parking, and accessibility to the City Hall ADA access entrance to the right of City Hall. So we assessed the existing site. The existing parking surface is cracked and delaminating and beyond its point of useful life. We found there's a catch basin up to the back right, which drains through a retaining wall to the alleyway on the surface, creating a slipping hazard, so we're looking at fixing that. The existing parking booth, the attendant has to manually count and manage all the vehicles in the parking lot. And the ticket booth itself has seen better days. It's pretty rusted out. As I noted, the ADA accessible handicap parking spaces are lacking adequate width and aisles for use. The existing layout has has 28 spaces, 3 of which are ADA accessible. But as I noted, the layout does not meet industry standards for widths and dimensional layout. Overall has a very poor level of service for any vehicles to go through. Most vehicles have to do a 3-point turn to make it around. So as part of this project, we assessed a couple of options. The main goal for the city was to not lose any parking. Obviously, there's a revenue source for the city when it comes to parking in this lot. So the goal was to not lose any parking. So option 1 that we looked at more or less kept the existing layout, which does not improve the level of service, does not improve accessible parking spaces, but it does allow us to provide a walkway into City Hall from the parking lot and also out to Commerce Street. So no matter what, that walking path would be improved. On option 1 is just a baseline alternative to just fix what's there. Obviously, we want to improve what's there and provide a resource to the city to have a rebuilt parking lot, good investment and return for the city. So to optimize the existing layout, we would have to lose a couple of spaces site, we would be down 4 spaces to a total of 24. So option 2 is more or less keeping the exact footprint of the exact 234 Common Street property, but it allows more turning radius, dimensional layout, and it allows standard dimensional layouts for handicap parking and vehicle parking. So obviously, losing 4 spaces is not the goal. So the city asked us to go back and look and see what can we do to maintain the existing number of spaces to keep this revenue source alive. And also maybe we can look at beautifying the area more. So we came up with option 3. Option 3 allows for an automated parking system similar to what other parking lots in the surrounding area have seen. But more importantly, and the reason why we're here presenting it to you tonight, to get the 28 parking spaces, we actually provided 29 with this option 3 layout, so we get 1 more. We maintained 3 ADA spaces. This layout must go into Pemberton Way, which is more or less a paper street walkway next to City Hall between Common Street and Essex Street. This Pemberton Way is about 50 feet wide and is a mainly unimproved surface. There's concrete, there's cobble, a lot of tripping hazards. So I'm sure you've seen on all these options, the city had us evaluate the pricing of replacing the walkway with brick. And then, of course, all of our options have a concrete ADA compliant walkway. So any users in the parking lot itself are able to access not only City Hall's side entrance for accessible users or regular patrons, you are able to make it to Common Street itself. So if somebody wants to use an ADA space or a standard space, they can use the walkway and go to any of the businesses up and down the street. Some other options that we looked at, installing a couple of trees. There's an existing stump out on Common Street, so we'd like to use that location as replacing a tree and also add a couple more to kind of beautify the space. We're going to put in a couple of benches and a couple light poles. This circular pattern allows us to have some stamped islands, which we could put in some light poles to improve the area. Additionally, the catch basin we talked about that free drains to the alleyway, we would replace it with a standard catch basin and tie it into the existing drainage system, which will overall improve stormwater quality. And like I said, this layout provides an automated parking system. The intent is to keep the parking booth and the parking attendant during the existing staffed hours as was other lots in town. So it's the same intent, but it just allows for a 24/7 automated operation where people want to go to restaurants on a Saturday night. This is a revenue generator for the city. Very good point. Mr. Garcia noted that one thing that we talked about on last week's presentation was pricing. So option 1 and 2, sorry, option 1 and 2 are nearly the same price because you're keeping the existing footprint. It's a relative improvement to the property limits and the surrounding walkways. But with the additional work that we're talking about doing, some trees and benches and the automated parking station, we're looking at about $100,000 in difference to do this increased area. This does.
Would you please,
sorry.
would you just give us the final, the big number on all 3 of those, and then
Yes, sir.
we can do the math, I think.
Yep. So option 3, we're estimated at $564,000. And option 1 and 2, like I said, are relatively the same, so we're looking at $440,000. And that includes a pretty heavy contingency. Currently, the bidding market is pretty wild. And that is the extent of the presentation. Mr. Garcia and also Bobrick Engineering, we prefer option 3. I think it is the best use for the area and also beautifies and expands the existing limits. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see that Councilor Levy's hand is up. Councilor Levy, you have the floor.
Yes, I just raised my hand since the beginning because I was not able to hear what he was saying to us.
Councilor
And I think so that also Councilor Payano also raised his hand on this regard. So
Councilor Levy, were you able to get the gist of what the engineer was presenting to us? Councilor Rodriguez, I see your hand. You wanted the floor. You have the floor. Councilor Rodriguez.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on this matter. Mr. Garcia, we expanding this parking lot 50 feet into the what's the name of that?
Pemberton Way.
You know, space. Into the space going into City Hall, right?
Correct.
So this one right here, 15 feet. So what are we gonna do in terms of, I mean, are we gonna keep the same amount of spaces as we have currently?
That is correct. I think with this design, we'll be increasing by 1. So the existing condition, the amount of parking spaces we have is 28. So what we're proposing here, we're going to have 29. So we're adding 1.
So 29.
Correct.
All right. Is this proposal include some type of? I mean, I know that we have some type of flowers and stuff like that on this area. Are we going to have anything similar to that or something better?
That is a great question. So you're talking about the landscaping, some of the flowers, some trees. So yeah, so for this design we have 3 trees, but we could also, I mean, we're open to any suggestions to any modifications to this design when it comes to landscaping. I think the more green we add, the better it looks. I think that's the direction we're going with the city as well. So, yeah, it's just that we also have to consider the maintenance. We can't do go crazy and have a jungle either. So, but definitely we're gonna add 3 trees, and then like we'll see if we could do something similar to what we have now with those concrete pots. I know there's some plants there.
I couldn't hear what he said.
Did I answer your question, Councilor Rodriguez?
I couldn't hear you.
Oh, you couldn't hear me. So
is the design gonna include
so
some type of
we'll
space?
in our design we'll have some plants and trees for the parking lot.
Can you read it again, Council President? Couldn't hear.
You can't hear me.
Can you, Council President, can you repeat what he said?
He said one more time.
So we'll have vegetation, we'll have trees, and we'll have some shrubs and plants.
There'll be vegetation and some plants that are going to be where in the top left quadrant. Is that where you're looking? Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right, so on presentation number 3, we're increasing the amount of spaces by 1, and then the other one we're losing spaces, right?
That is correct.
That is correct.
Okay. On presentation number 3, we actually taking 15 feet in. We going 50 feet into the perhaps space that we have between the parking lot and the city hall. And on the other location, on the other 2 scenarios, we don't have that, right?
That is correct.
And what are you gonna do with the drainage? I couldn't hear what you said. I know that you're gonna remove these catch basins that you have right here, but how are you gonna be dealing with the drainage? Are you gonna have natural slope, or you gonna have some type of catch basins in between, or what?
We're gonna have 2 catch basins, and that's gonna capture all the runoff water within the parking lot.
So to repeat, 2 catch basins to collect the runoff water.
Is 2 catch basins enough for that area? Especially that's gonna be so much things in the middle?
I didn't.
He wants to know whether or not it's going to be, I believe, in the middle, because there's going to be some runoff in the center portion, if I understand the correction.
Hello, Counselor. This design is a conceptual design currently, but
Hold on for 1 second. I want you to take that microphone, Mr. Piano's microphone right there. Try that. Let's see if that works. Can you pull that all the way over? Can we do that? Can you? Just press the button down. What's that? So appreciate your patience. We are continuing to, we're going to get another wireless mic, and the hope is that that new mic will be beneficial. Counselors, I'm curious, Mr. Piano, you have your hand up. Is this, you want to be recognized to speak, or is this a technical issue? I couldn't hear. He wasn't over there changing around.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. Say something again, and let's see if Mr. Rodriguez can hear you. Go ahead, say something.
Test, test, test.
All right.
1 2 1 2. Could you hear me? No. I'm gonna learn sign language so I could.
Can we move one of these microphones? Can we just?
We're using your computer mic as the main one.
Okay.
Come in.
Should I be doing?
You can hear fine.
What happens if he's using one of our mics? Like if we just shifted one down?
Your computer mic is the one being used for the Zoom. Everything else.
If I turn this up a little bit, will that do anything?
That'll be volume only.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
Not a bad thing.
Okay.
Maybe you can see them. If you want to come and sit closer, if you allow me to.
Yeah. You come over here. Just grab a mic here. Sometimes we have to do other things. Let's just, yeah. This is what happens.
Council member now.
You want to come over? Come on. You got it? Have a seat.
Yes, grab this mic.
Grab that mic. I grab that one. Don't give me that one. You don't need that one.
Test, test, test. Councilor Rodriguez, could you hear me now?
No, he's got to wait a second. He's got to turn on the mic for you. Don't get used to that. Mr. Garcia, try one more time.
Council members, can you hear me?
Yes, finally, go. You got it.
All right, so the question was the catch basins. We're gonna have 2 catch basins, and then the locations is still right now preliminary design, so, but most likely it's gonna be like towards the center. We're gonna have 2, so just not straight smack in the center, but it'll be in vicinity of. But again, this is preliminary.
I'm going to recognize Councilor Payano.
Thank you, Council President. Can you hear me? Great. So my question is, I'm trying to find out what are the costs of the 3 projects? And do we have an idea of where the money would come from?
The cost, well, I don't have it on me, but I believe the option 3, the one I'm recommending, is like around $565,000, and option 2 is $440. Thank you, $440K. And then for the budget for this, I'm assuming it's going to be capital improvement funds.
Council President.
Mr. Piano.
Thank you, Council President. Could you, there were some pieces that I missed. I know that you said some numbers. Can you just repeat what those numbers are? And I know that the city engineer did say where the, what fund we were thinking that this would come from. If you can just repeat that yourself.
Sure. Thank you, Councilor Piano. So here's the first, number 1 to be 28 parking spaces, 440,000. Option number 2 is 24 parking spaces, roughly the same amount, 440. And the third is 29 parking spaces for a total of $564,000.
And my second question, Council President, was if we can state where we think that the funds will be coming from.
The city engineer says that he believes that this money is coming out of the capital improvement budget.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you to the city engineer.
Thank you.
Councilor Levy, did you have, I noticed you had your hand up earlier. Do you have any other questions at this time?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, for asking. So is there that it's coming for the capital improvement? Did we approve that the project before? Or this is something that is going to come out for the next budget meeting?
So for the capital improvements, like for the funds, the Director of Public Works, we haven't hashed it out yet with Mark Arnaldo. So we have to first talk to see, what projects, we have to do and what the amount of budget has to be. But I'm assuming, at least for this project, I'm assuming we're using capital improvement funds to make this happen.
Mr. President, can you repeat what he said, please?
Yes, it's his understanding that this is going to be under the capital improvement budget, that there is a portion of money dedicated to DPW within the CIP, and that's where he believes the money is coming from.
Okay. So just only a portion, so from where the other portion is going to come?
So part of me's a couple things. One is I think they're looking for permission to get a permit for this. What I'm unclear about is the question that some of the councilors are asking, which is it's good for us to know exactly where this money is coming from. Is it already been dedicated funds that we've already voted on in the past? All the capital improvement projects have been voted by this council. That's how we operate. It's not like we can just say, yeah, we're going to go there, because if you have the capital improvement budget, there are line items in the budget that says where the money is going to be allocated for each specific project. So what the councilors, I think, correctly are asking for is this item, whatever you call this, the parking, the city hall parking, is that listed? And I don't have a capital improvement budget here handy this evening, but that is the question. I think it's a very good question. And part of me, and I don't want to take over this discussion here, but it may be in order, if a counselor feels like it, to get that information before because you're looking for a permit, and we're not sure where the money's coming from. It would be in order for us to table this matter this evening so that the city engineer can get that, and that's my recommendation. Did you want to say something?
Go ahead. I'm going to have to repeat it anyway.
So what, hey, and guess what happened? Mr. Ryanello is here. So why don't we put Mr. Ryanello, who can answer the question? Mr. Ryanello, perfect. Help us out.
Yes, Counselor. The last two bond approvals included improvements to city parking lots. So last year, I think it was 375,000, and the year before was 300,000+. So I haven't talked to Felix. I don't know what the project cost is here, but we have been doing city parking lot improvements over the last few bond projects. So there should be money available for this. I don't have the balances available. That DPW is in charge of those accounts.
So my understanding here is that the Budget and Finance Director, the capo, says that there is money, it has been set aside or targeted for this expenditure, and it does qualify as the pot of money where this money can be spent. I'm not sure if any other councilors have questions regarding the funding on this project. I think, Councilor Levy, you had the floor last. Do you wish to retain the floor, or do you wish to release?
Yes, so, Mr. Gianello, you said that we already have spent some of the money fixing some of the parking lot. So, but we would like to hear, so how much still we have available if we're gonna fund or we're gonna do this parking lot? So I like the idea to be fixed, but because all of the problems that we are having right now, or the economic problem that we are having, so to put more money over what we owe right now and to get more money from maybe we don't know from where, is to get the city more involved in some and having some debt. So we would like to know, so how much money we can spend and how much money is still available for doing this project.
Well, I'll ask DPW. They're in charge of those bond accounts. They're DPW projects. But the question that tonight was has this been was this part of a past capital improvement plan, or is it supposed to be a projected capital improvement plan?
Yes.
And my answer is that the last two capital improvement plans, we had improvements, line items for improvements to city-owned parking lots. I don't know what the balance off the top of my head is of those funds, but I assume DPW has money available to do this parking lot, pending, until they put it out to bid. I mean, if they have 300,000 and a project costs 400,000, well, they're going to be short. They'll have to come back to me to find out how we're going to fund the shortfall. So I'm not sure how far along this project is, or if there's cost estimates available yet. I haven't talked to Felix or the DPW director, so I really don't know. But they should have the information. I assume they have money in their account to go forward with this project. Otherwise, they wouldn't have started it.
Mr. President, through you, I would like to make a motion to table.
There is a Councilor Levy, I will recognize that motion because it is in order, but as a courtesy to your colleagues who may want to speak, would you be willing to not offer that motion, but I will come back to you and allow other colleagues to speak? Would you offer that?
Yes.
Thank you for your courtesy, Councilor Levy. I'm going to look for Councilor Dela Cruz and then Councilor Selena Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. One of my questions is, as you know, that today we're trying to be more modern. Are you planning to use the solar light or the solar panels to be able to illuminate that area because it has been very dark, and to use at the same time kind of clean energy for that location?
You're not going to be able to speak.
Through Mr. Garcia.
And you're going to have to, or someone's going to have to repeat. You got it? So what's going to happen here is that we're going to have the consultant speak to it unless you got the answer. Do you have it? Okay.
So right now, based on other projects, we just have a conduit and we just we pay for it, the city will pay for it, but we could also look into other alternatives, more green alternatives. So it's right now, it's still very preliminary, so we could look into that.
Thank you. My other question is, if we voted tonight, if we say yes tonight, when will the project start?
Well, right now we're still in design, so once we finish the design, I would say maybe 2023, because we still have to like go out to bid, so it takes some time for the procurement, all that good stuff.
My last question, if we table this tonight, it's not gonna affect the time that you are waiting for the approval of the plan?
It will not affect, no. We're still very early with this.
Councilor Reyes?
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it. I love the Ocean Tree, but my question is, I don't see any space for our parking attendants.
So I spoke with John, our consultant. So similar to the other parking lot that we have on Common Street, it's a brand new booth, and there's a person there in the morning, and people will go in. It's automated, so they go in, they get their tickets, and then they just park. And then the person that's there, they're there to assist. So there will be a person for the proposed fixes next to City Hall.
Thank you. We keep going, maintain our parking attendant.
Yeah, he'll still be there, correct.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, there's no one else who wishes to speak. I did promise Councilor Levy that I would go back to her if she wishes to offer a motion. Councilor Rodriguez, I see your light is on. Did you wish to speak before Councilor Levy makes her motion? Mr. Miguel, I see that, okay, we had a lot of stuff going on. I did not hear Councilor Rodriguez. I'm not sure if he just went, and I can't see him. I see that Director Miguel is with us, and I think he wishes to say something. Director Miguel, DPW Director, did you wish to say something?
Yes, sir. I got a call because you councilors have questions about the funds for the parking lot next to City Hall. Is that right?
There were questions regarding the capital improvement funding. Mr. Ryanello was able to answer it, but he was not able to answer with great specificity as to how much money is in the balance in the CIP account for this project. So that's the only thing at this point that we're not sure about.
Okay, yes, we do have funds available. I just don't have the right amount because I'm actually driving right now. But we do have funds under the capital improvement plan to develop this project.
Do you have more than $564,000 in this account?
Yes, I know that we should have more than that, yes.
Thank you. I do see Councilor Rodriguez back. Did you wish to say something? I don't want to cut you off if you do. If not, I'm going to Councilor Levy. Councilor Rodriguez?
Yes, I would like to I guess that the questions were answered in terms of funding, and if that's the case, I would like to make a motion to approve the permit.
At this point, I made a commitment to Councilor Levy. Did you wish to say something, Councilor Levy?
We already had a motion to approve option 3.
We already have a motion on the table to approve option number 3, so we can't just do another motion for the same thing. Councilor Levy, you wish to have the floor, and you were very courteous to let our colleague speak. I'm giving you back the floor again. Do you wish to take it for any purpose?
Still, Mr. President, to you, I would like to table until we see, a disclosure of the information that we are looking for regarding the funding.
Mr. President, we have a motion from the beginning to approve.
So here's the situation. Councilor Levy has made a privileged motion, a motion to table. It has been seconded by Councilor Pavel Payano. The underlying motion is the motion to approve. However, because this is a privileged motion, it, at this point, supersedes that motion. We are going to freeze this debate right now as to where we are because the motion has been properly made to table and seconded. There is no further discussion on the matter per our rules. I am now going to ask the clerk to call the roll on a motion to table.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
No.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
No.
Counselor Abdu.
No.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
No. No.
Counselor Rodriguez.
No.
Vice President Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
No. What is the roll call, clerk?
2 in favor. 1, 2, 3. 6 noes and 1 absent.
No, that's not right. I think there were 3 people in favor of the motion. Okay. So 2 noes.
I have 2 noes.
Good.
I have 6 noes and 2 yeses.
6 noes and 2 yeses and 1 absent. The motion to table fails. The, Mr. Payano, I recognize you.
Charter objection. Council President, I just made a charter.
I recognize you, Councilor Payano.
Thank you, Council President. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Charter objection.
There is a charter objection to this item, and at a charter objection, there is no further discussion. This debate at this point ceases until the next full city council meeting when this thing will be brought up. Next on our agenda, we have withdrawals. There is 4 documents. The first one is document 10121, handicap parking at 60 Side East Street. Is there a motion to withdraw this document?
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Gonzalez, seconded by Councilor Dela Cruz. Discussion. Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President, who made the motion?
That was made by Councilor Gonzalez, seconded by Councilor Dela Cruz.
Thank you. Vice President Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion to withdraw passes. The next withdrawn item is document number 13521, handicap parking on 64 Beacon Street. Is there a motion to withdraw?
Motion to withdraw.
Motion made by Councilor Dela Cruz, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez. Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez. Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion to withdraw passes. The next document is document number 13721, handicap parking at 31 Whitman Street. Is there a motion to withdraw?
Motion to withdraw.
Motion made by the Vice Chair, seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Voted yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Levy. President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion to withdraw passes. The last one under withdrawals is document number 14421, handicap parking at 113 Exchange Street. Is there a motion to withdraw?
Motion.
Motion
Second.
made by Counselor Gonzalez, seconded by Counselor De La Cruz. Discussion? Hearing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu. Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Counselor Estela Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. Under old business, the first item is document number 28020. Counselors, on Tuesday, September 28th, I believe we all received an opinion from the city attorney with respect to this issue that we ordered to have a public hearing. What I would like to do at this point, to refresh your memory, is to read the opinion, and then we need to figure out how we're going to comport with the spirit of what the vote was that we have with our ordinances. This is from Councilor Raquel Ruano on September 28th. Good afternoon, councilors. I received this document to draft an ordinance, and this is a tenant parking only at 17 Alma Street. So that's the key here. The following attachment, I wanted to express my concern over this item before I write any ordinance. What the constituent is asking for and what the police department has suggested goes against municipal finance law, a private parking space that is on a publicly owned right-of-way. Should this ordinance be drafted and passed, it would provide for a private parking space for the constituent, one that will be plowed and maintained with taxpayer funds. This item does not serve a general public purpose and is something that is not available to the general public and, as such, violates municipal finance law. Finally, should this item pass, the city opens itself up to every homeowner who is having problems with parking come before the city council and asking for their own personal parking spot. The council is familiar with resident parking permit, and I would like to clarify why I am of the opinion that this item is not the same. Resident permit parking serves a general public purposes, may be to provide residents with parking in mixed-use areas or residential parking in areas that abut commercial areas. But resident parking, permit parking, is available to all those in the affected area, not just one house. This constituent is seeking her own personal parking spot to protect that spot from other residents who park on that street. For these reasons, I do not believe that this item falls under the resident permit parking rubric. Resident permit parking can always be put in this area so long as it serves a general public purpose and it is not designed to only benefit one private person at the expense of the taxpayers. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. I await further instructions after this matter is taken up by the city council. So we have this item before us right now. The city attorney is hesitant about drafting something that she believes would be unlawful, and now here we are. I'm going to provide a recommendation that there may be other recommendations that might be better, but here's my recommendation. This was not sponsored by any city councilor, but actually sponsored by a resident. A recommendation that I would have is to send this back to the police department for them to put meets and bounds as opposed to a street address, and that way it comports with any other residential parking permit in this particular case. This is they're looking for a special permit on that area. So, are they looking for is this the handicap parking or just a regular thing? So this is not a resident. This is essentially a resident permit. It's not a handicap parking spot. We don't have a motion on the floor, but I'm looking for a motion at this point. I see Councilor Rodriguez's hand is up. I'm going to recognize him right now.
I would like to make a motion to rescind my vote to order a public hearing and withdraw the to rescind my vote at least.
We don't have a vote on this right now. There is no motion in front of us at this point. There's nothing to rescind.
We actually order a public hearing on this.
I don't think so.
We did order a public hearing on this. If you're looking for a motion to reconsider your vote, I guess that would be in order. We're in this really weird spot right now where we've already ordered the public hearing. It's gone to the city attorney. The city attorney is hesitant about drafting an ordinance that does not comport with our laws. And now what we're trying to do, if we can, is to see, is there a way that we can have, if we all support it, something that's here that comports with our laws, that doesn't run afoul. Certainly, I guess it would be, I'm not, this is kind of a unique question. Can you reconsider a vote to order a public hearing that was already done?
The vote's already been made. The time for reconsideration is passed.
I don't think that would be in order. However, I think that the chair, the council president, would look for other options on how to deal with this.
Public hearing.
Councilor Rodriguez, your hand is still up. Are you still wishing to speak?
My hand's still up. I have the floor, right?
Yes, you do.
I would like to make a motion for this body not to order a public hearing on this item, since it's illegal.
Council President, I have a question.
So the counselor is asking a very interesting parliamentary question that we have never wrestled with, as far as I know, in the city, which we have. So we've already voted to order a public hearing. We've done that already. I think it may have been 9-0 to order a public hearing on this, or whoever was present at the meeting. So we've already ordered that. Now what I'm hearing is that we want to take a vote to, and maybe that could be an order. I mean, if we wanted to stop this process from going further, I guess that could be an order. I'm not sure how we do that. If you wish to relinquish the floor, Councilor Rodriguez, to Mr. Piano, he might have some suggestions on how to proceed. Do you wish to continue to have the floor?
Yes. In order for us to call the public to listen to them, we order a public hearing. So what I'm saying is, with this motion, is that since we haven't ordered a public hearing yet, and the ordinance haven't been drafted, before we order the public hearing, the ordinance have to be drafted. That haven't happened yet. Right. And the fact that we telling people to come over, and now we recognizing that this is something that is not legal, we're just gonna avoid ordering the public hearing by an order of the city council by a vote.
So the question here is a reversal, which is unique. I guess we have this, we already voted. It's kind of weird. So, so what we could do is this. We can, if enough city councilors think that's a great idea, if you make that motion, I will accept that motion. I will need a second. If people think that's a great idea, they'll say yes. It will then kick that back over to the legal department for them to review this thing to see whether or not our vote to say, nope, we're not doing it, is the right vote, but at least we're not going to move on anything this evening. So I see that Mr. Pion has his hand up, but do you wish to allow Mr. Pion to speak first, or do you want me to see if there's a second on your motion, Mr. Rodriguez? I can't hear you.
Somebody second it. And then we are going to open it for discussion.
So Mr. Rodriguez continues, he wishes to have his motion. Is there a second to his motion?
Let's second that motion because we need to stop this.
Motion has been made and has been properly seconded. Discussion, Mr. Piano.
Thank you, Council President. So, just a statement and a couple questions. So, I think just moving forward, it might behoove us one of the checks that is done before it goes from ordinance to the city council, the full city council meetings to order public hearing, is that the ordinance has been done. So I think that is a very important step and might have informed us even before we got to, it might have informed us when we made the vote for the public hearing. So then my question is, I am sure, did the city attorney offer any advice as to what the process would be? It sounds like this motion would be, essentially, it would go against our laws. So it sounds like it's not the right thing to do. So I'm wondering if she had any advice on the best way of proceeding.
So just so we're all clear, and then I just want to make sure that the clerk is accurately writing down what the motion is. Mr. Rodriguez, can you just repeat your motion one more time?
I will say that my motion is the following. Since the ordinance haven't been drafted yet, as per Ruano's email and follow-up conversation, she is against writing the ordinance, because it's against the law. My motion will be not to order the public hearing at this point.
Pretty clear. A denial of the public hearing is the motion, and it's still, Ms. Dela Cruz, you're good with that, okay? So that's the motion, denial, to not order, to withdraw, I guess, whatever the words is, withdraw the public hearing?
Withdraw, yeah.
We're going to withdraw the public hearing, and it's been properly seconded. Is everybody clear on what this vote's going to be? Councilor Gonzalez. Okay, all right.
You don't want to order public hearing.
So what, that's right, so what Mr. Rodriguez is suggesting, or his motion, not suggesting, his motion is that he's looking to, there is currently we're already in the motion of getting a public hearing posted in the newspaper. Mr. Rodriguez is saying, stop. We're going to withdraw this motion, we're not going forward with it, and we're going to send this back to the city attorney, advising her of, if we have 5 votes on this, we're going to advise her that we're not moving forward on this. What the final disposition is, we'll get greater guidance and we can deal with it at the next meeting. Is that clear? Okay. Mr. Abdu.
And we've already paid for the advertisement for this. We have not paid for, okay. No further questions.
We have not paid for it yet. This is before it's going to be published. She wanted to make sure that we were on the same page. Mr. Payano, your hand is up.
Thank you, Council President. So I asked the question. I'm guessing that perhaps you did not hear the question. So my question was, what was the city attorney's advice on how we should proceed?
Thank you. Thank you. She did not give us advice. The advice that she said to us, essentially, what this is unlawful. Her final paragraph or two is as follows. If you have any further questions, do not hesitate to contact me. I await further instructions after this matter is taken up by the city council. So she's waiting to hear from us. All right. So I don't see anybody else's hands up. I think we're all clear on what this motion is. Motion's been made and properly seconded to withdraw this public hearing, and we're going to send this back to the city attorney for guidance. Would that be part of the motion? I would hope that it is, and I think that's true. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Estela Reyes, absent. Councilor Rodriguez. Councilor Rodriguez?
Yes.
Councilor De La Cruz.
The yes goes to say not to order the public. Yes.
Councilor
Yes.
Piano.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Present.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries to withdraw and send to the city attorney with our vote and further guidance. Thank you, councilors, for going through this. We have three more things under old business. Counselor Rodriguez, are you prepared to go through these three? Or I can tee it up if you're not.
I'm ready. I'm ready to go through those three. So, after do you have the floor? Do I have the floor?
Document number 16021, Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes, after receiving a recommendation from the city attorney as of the motion that should happen, she advised the city council to take the following motion. For item 16021, motion to allow Ana Flete as solo owner to purchase 8082 Cross Street for the sale price of $3,000 under the yard sale program with the condition of sale. And I would like to make that as a form of a motion.
There's a motion and a seconded, and this is document number 16021. Just as a reminder to my colleagues, we already had a vote on this earlier this year. I believe it was this year. The city attorney needed to see some very precise language and asked us to go back and affirm the vote with this language that the chairman of the Housing Committee just offered to us. So this is the recommended language that he's providing at this point. So we've already voted on this and we're just perfecting it. Motion has been made and was it seconded?
I don't know who the second was.
Seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez. Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion is perfected and corrected and passes. The next document, Mr. Rodriguez, is document number 16121.
Same time, we already voted on this item before, and the reaffirmation of the vote with the following language was asked by the city attorney to be made. Motion to allow Noel E. Adams and Andy Diaz as joint owner to purchase the lot of Greeneasy Street, tax map 177, lot 33, for the sale price of $5,170 under the yard sale program with the condition of sale. And I would like to make that a form of a motion.
Second.
Motion is made and properly seconded by Councilor De La Cruz. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Vice President Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez. Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes, the motion is affirmed and adopted. Document number 16221, Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, motion to allow Olga Nunez as solo owner to purchase 141 Union Street for the price of $2,425 under the yard sale program with the condition of sale. I would like to make that as a form of a motion.
Motion is made and seconded by Councilor Anna Levy. Discussion? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Levy.
Yes.
She said yes.
Counselor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Counselor Abdu.
Yes.
Counselor Payano.
Yes.
Counselor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Vice President Reyes is absent. President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion is affirmed and adopted. Thank you very much for your help on this. The next series of items are tabled matters. Councilors, are there any tabled matters that you wish to take off of the table matters this evening? I am not seeing anyone under table matters wishing to take anything off, so I will be moving on. We're moving on to new business. New business, document 21921. I want to make sure, Any table matters? One's going, I just want to make sure, I see Mr. Soto here, I want to make sure no counselors or any counselors have that option. All right, moving on. Document 21921, handicap parking, second sign request at 53 Bradford Street. That is going to the Ordinance Committee. 22021, handicap parking, 31 Fairmont Street, Ordinance Committee. 22121, handicap parking deleted at 95 Alder Street on a corner of Exchange Street, put on by Councilor Gonzalez, is going to the Ordinance Committee. 22221, Lawrence for Christ, Campagnone Common on October 23rd, going to the Ordinance Committee. 22321, order to expend grant funds, the Rondon family donation of $5,000. That is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document 22421, in order to expend grant funds, an emergency management performance grant of $25,600 is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document 22521, order to expend grant funds for the fiscal year 22 municipal road safety grant of up to $49,977 is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. Document 22621, order to expend grant funds FY22 municipal, I just said that, 22621, order to expend grant funds for the FY22 SSYI grant of $700,000. That is going to the Ordinance Committee. The Budget and Finance Committee. Budget and Finance Committee. Document 22721, disclosure by municipal employee Alyssa Coco, that is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 22821, order to expend grant funds for federal fiscal year 19 PSN grant from EOPSS for $49,731 is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. 22921, incidents at the Lawrence, I think it's Lawrence High School, should be LHS, I think, put on by Councilor Levy, is going to the Public Safety Committee. Document number 23021, handicap parking at 50 Union Street is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 23121, Stearns Ave, one-way northbound from Mayflower Street to Lawrence Street is going to the Ordinance Committee. 23221, a Sunset Ave, one-way southbound from Saratoga Street to Lawrence Street is going to the Ordinance Committee. 23321, the amend the ordinance of 10.36.031 to include Stearns Ave to the winter alternative parking is going to the Ordinance Committee. Document 23421, tax collection and local receipt update for fiscal year 2022 by Councilor Rodriguez. That is going to the Budget and Finance Committee. And document number 23521, disclosure by municipal employee Marina Cornell, that is going to the Ordinance Committee. Let's go around the horn and see what we've got for committee plays. Mr. Abdu, Budget Finance.
Mr. President, Budget and Finance will meet on Wednesday, the 13th at 7 p.m. And while I have the microphone, I'd note that there's no personnel items. There will not be a personnel meeting.
Mr. Rodriguez, I see that your hand is raised. For what purpose?
For the purpose of taking one item out of table matters before we go back to the subcommittee meetings.
So that will be in order. Let me just finish this process of getting the subcommittees, and I'll come back to you when we're done with that. While you got you, Housing Committee.
I don't believe we have any items at this point.
Okay, nothing on housing. Ordinance Committee. October the 12th for the Ordinance Committee. Public Safety Committee.
Public Safety.
The Public Safety Committee is meeting this Thursday.
Yes, Council President. And if you recognize me for 1 second in terms of the Public Safety Committee, I would like to add something very quick.
So the Public Safety Committee is on Thursday. For what purpose do you wish to speak, Mr. Rodriguez?
For the Safety Committee meeting.
Okay, it's on Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Yes, I would like to add a few other things, if you allow me to.
I don't think we are, you mean as an item? New items?
I'm just part of the general meeting. Some information for the meeting.
If you're not looking to add new items, that's fine. What did you wish to say, if you can keep it brief? We can't add items, but go ahead.
We were inviting the superintendent parties to this meeting, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that she just sent an email saying that she won't be coming to the Public Safety Committee meeting next Thursday, and that meeting specifically was to discuss and possible find a solution of the problems that we have at the Loudon Heights at this point and the safety issue that we have up there. So she is not going to be participating on that meeting. I would like the public to know that she is not coming on Thursday. She is not facing up the problems we have.
Counselor, you made your point.
Thank you.
You made your point. She's not going to be present. Thank you for that information. I think we've got it all. I think we got all the committees, and I did promise Councilor Rodriguez that he wishes to take an item out of tabled matters. Councilor, what item do you wish to take out of table matters?
Pedro Soto is here for an item. He was in, and the item is 8021B.
Thank you. Could you hear me?
Stop for right there. 8021, and what's the year number on it?
80B21.
So we split that item into two, item A and B. The item A was the $9,000 and the $36,000 for the item B.
So, Councilors, this is on the second page. This is document 80B-21, acceptance of grants funds for mass developments for $36,000 put on the City Council agenda by Pedro Soto, Planning Director. So there's a motion to take that off the table. It needs a second if we're going to have a discussion on this. It has been properly seconded by Councilor Selena Reyes. Motion has been made just to take it off the table, and it's been seconded. Any discussions on just getting it off the table? Councilor Rodriguez, your hand is still up. Do you wish to speak still or not? I see Mr. Payano's hand just went up. Go ahead, Mr. Payano. Go ahead.
Thank you, Council President. I'm trying to recall this particular motion, and I'm trying to recall the body of what this item was about. So
yeah, I can, if you allow me, Council President, I can remind Councilor Payano.
So sure. So, Mr. Rodriguez, if you wish to clarify that, and so you can be more informed about whether or not to vote to take
Councilor Payano, this item was the one that we discussed at the subcommittee for the $45,000 grant coming from mass development. And we split this item into two. $9,000 was for the creation of an ordinance for outdoor dining, and the $36,000 was for the purchase of or building up the trailer for the outdoor dining that it's going to be built and place it within downtown. You remember that?
Through you, Council President. Councilor Rodriguez, to your knowledge, has anything changed? I believe that one of the reasons that we tabled the motion was because, and maybe I'm thinking about a different item, was because if we said yes to purchasing, to basically purchasing these things, we were also saying yes to an ordinance, that was essentially attached to it. So we weren't essentially saying yes to the ordinance, but if we didn't approve the ordinance, then the $36,000 would have to come from the city's coffers, or the monies will come from the city. Is this, are you talking about the same item?
And that's correct, Councilor Payano, that's the same item.
And Councilor Rodriguez, as to your knowledge, has anything changed? Like, have we, is there language for an ordinance that we've, that is in, I don't know, in the ordinance committee or in the council agenda, or have we gotten information essentially saying that we no longer have to pass that ordinance?
So let's do this, councilors. The motion before us is to have this kind of discussion and this kind of debate. So let's just if we want to take it up, we can take it up, and then we can go back and forth.
Where during these tabled matters, you yourself have asked some of these questions. I'm not asking whether or not I'm gonna vote for this. I'm just trying to figure out if there's more information or if there's something new than what was previously presented, right? So I'm trying to get that little bit of information so I can be informed in my vote.
There is new information available, if I may share.
Okay. Thank you. That was my question.
Very good. Clerk, please call the roll.
So on the motion to take this matter from the table, Vice President Estela Reyes is absent. Councilor Rodriguez.
Yes.
Councilor De La Cruz.
Yes.
Councilor Payano.
Yes.
Councilor Abdu.
Yes.
Councilor Selena Reyes.
Yes.
Councilor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilor Levy.
Yes.
President LaPlante.
Yes. The motion carries. Now, I'm looking for, so this is, we already have a motion on this. I believe the motion was to,
To take it from the table.
we just voted on it, taking it off the table. So now we're set. So we already have a motion. We tabled this already, and I believe the motion, the underlying motion back months ago was a motion to, I think, probably to approve. I think that's probably what it was before us as a committee reporting motion to approve. Unless a council member from that time has a different recollection of that, that's where we're going with. So at this point, the floor is for whoever wants the floor.
Discussion. Hold on.
Okay, we got, just keep putting your hands up, that's gonna be really helpful.
Your hands are up, that's gonna be helpful. I see Mr. Payano's hand is up, so I see that first.
So Council President, I know I put my hands up, but Councilor Rodriguez was first, so I will hold on to my comments if you want to recognize him first.
No, Councilman.
So Council President, so I don't think that there was a motion. Maybe there was. I don't believe there was though. I do want to make sure that we have a discussion. You know, Mr. Soto said that there's new information for us, so I want to make sure that we make space for him to present that information.
Thank you, Councilor Payano. My name is Pedro Soto, Planning Director with the City of Lawrence. Thank you for the opportunity to share some more information on this. So as Councilor Rodriguez mentioned earlier, this particular item was introduced in May, and when it made it to the Budget and Finance Committee, it was split into two, the 80A 21 and 80B 21. The first, Section A was the $9,000 for the outdoor dining, and the B was the $36,000 for the fabrication of the shipping container. There's actually one that we fabricated already. You may have seen it in front of El Taller. The issue that we've had was, I think you mentioned it just now, Councilor Payano, was, you know, in accepting the $36,000, are we automatically then enacting or adopting the outdoor dining ordinance kind of right away, straight away? And there was a desire to hear from the city attorney and get an opinion from her. And I did communicate with her, and she did send a communication to Councilor Rodriguez outlining, and I'm not privy to that communication, but I did confirm with her that a message was sent to Councilor Rodriguez, and I don't know if it went to the whole city council, basically outlining that much like every other regulation or ordinance that's enacted, there's a proper channel that needs to go through, you know, through city council and then committee and then back to city council. So, so in accepting $36,000, we would not be automatically approving the, you know, the ordinance. That's the simplest way to put it. I don't know if you have any questions along those lines.
To you, Council President.
You have the floor, Councilor Payano.
Thank you, Council President. So I haven't seen what the city attorney has sent, but I understand it. So I think what you're trying to say, Mr. Soto, is that us approving this $36,000 doesn't mean that we we automatically approve the ordinances, because we still have to vote on whether or not we want to approve.
That's correct.
I think that the issue is that, Council President, I think your mic is on. So I think that the issue is, Mr. Soto, at least that the issue that we were presenting in the last meeting, if I recall correctly, is that if we were to pass this and the ordinance comes in and we decide to vote against that ordinance, we decide that we don't want that ordinance for whatever reason, that then the state or the agency that's granting us this would then charge the city for that amount of money. If I remember correctly, the documents that you presented to us, they clearly stated that if the case comes in where the city says no to those ordinances that we haven't seen yet, that they, like they're essentially giving this money with the belief that at some point we're gonna pass these ordinances. So the assumption is that if we don't pass these ordinances, that then the state will, or that agency will ask for those funds back. And that's still the case, correct?
Yes.
I see where the kind of the line of thinking here. Here's some feedback on those points. So the city actually already has an outdoor dining ordinance in place. It's rather old and does not fit with kind of the needs that we have as a community today. It's a kind of a hawker's regulation that's in place. We would be updating that particular regulation. If you recall, in June of 2020, there was an executive order outlining a regulation for outdoor dining, which, all of the season for 2020, as well as the dining season for 2021, the city was permitting about 18 establishments to serve outdoors through that particular ordinance. So we already have, and we've been enjoying essentially, support from the city, all the various departments. This particular ordinance, the executive order of last year, was crafted in partnership with the police, fire, ISD, the building department. So there's a lot of scrutiny with that particular ordinance. And so since we enjoy that support already, we're going to be going back to the same group of stakeholders and making the ordinance even better for the need on Main Street, in general, kind of the commercial districts. So we're enjoying that support already. So I don't anticipate there's going to be huge objections to, having outdoor dining. We've talked to a lot of businesses, and a lot of them support this. The restaurants that we've been in contact with say that business has improved. I think at the beginning of the dining season last year, there were a lot of people that did not want to go inside and even get takeout. So this allowed vendors who were on the margins, allowed them to increase a revenue stream from people that were wanting to dine outdoors, right? So El Taller, as an example, does not have the staff capacity to have their own outdoor dining program, have their tables and have them serviced. This particular program allows them to serve outdoors, have their tables and chairs within the structure and close it down at night safely, and not really have too much staff dedicated to bringing tables in and out. So I think the short answer is the businesses are on board, the city's on board, all the departments. We work pretty diligently to ensure that we have proper outdoor dining ordinances that, through the executive order, that, we were seeking guidance and we received from the state. Other municipalities have done the same. We were just responding to what the needs were on the street. So we have the outdoor dining ordinance already in existence that was used really to model, or it was built, the executive order was built on the dining ordinance that we already had outdoors. So it doesn't seem likely to me that we wouldn't continue to improve this.
Mr. Soto, I know I hear you. So I think that anyone, the overall statement, dining outdoors, great, right? But the question is, what is the language that is in these ordinances? Like I can't say, until the council reads those ordinances and makes that vote, it would be difficult to say whether or not, it is difficult to say whether or not I would be in favor of it without reading what it is that I'm in favor of. So I hear what you're saying. I know that you're stating that there's ordinances already in place and that there's an executive order. It didn't sound from the documents that you presented, it did not sound that the ordinance that is in place and the executive order met the expectations from the granting agency. It sounded like, from what we read, it sounded like the granting agency was looking for us to take a more affirmative step, which is to create new ordinances, so that these previous ordinances and the executive order that you're speaking of are not, do not equal us sort of meeting the expectations that they're already set. Is that correct? Are they looking for us to do new ordinances?
That's a good question. So the grant funding that came from Mass Development, it's called the TDI Challenge Grant. And the purpose of that particular program is to update policies and ordinances. So we would be updating our current program.
So thank you, Mr. Soto. And I think that's important, right? So it's not that we have these old ordinances, these rules already in place, and that meets the demand that they're placing us. We have to approve, at some point in time, we have to approve ordinances that I'm assuming are going to be presented by your department or maybe the administration, by somebody. It's going to be presenting these ordinances. I think what some of us were hoping when we tabled this item is that in the time between it being tabled and it being brought up again, that we would see the ordinances and we would see the language. And I think that if these languages were at least turned into the ordinance committee, it would make it easier for some of us, or at least myself, to take that affirmative step in saying that we're for it, right? So if we're looking at actual language, we can see that makes sense. At the moment, what we're looking at is essentially, in my mind, it's almost we're talking about a blank slate. I have no idea what's on there. And there's this pressure that if at some point it comes to us and we decide that we do not want to go that route, that we then have this $36,000 price tag that is attached to it. So at what point are you planning on getting the language to us for this ordinance?
Thank you, Councilor Payano. Here's what I'd say about this. I would urge the council to make a vote on this, simply because, if I was to come back in several weeks with language, and it doesn't make it through, the clock has already started, right? We have to give this money back one way or another. I think towards the end of, I think it's kind of a little bit flexible, but we have 6 months from when we receive the money to enact the ordinance, on or about 6 months. So I actually spoke with the director and of the program, and it really depends on the circumstances. So either way, we're going to give the money back. If I don't have the opportunity to receive the money, start the work, we're still going to be in the same position in 2 months' time.
Mr. Soto, I know that you're saying, if in a couple of weeks' time you come back with ordinances, but you had 3 to 4 months to bring us with ordinances.
With all due respect, there's a lot going on in our department. We have 3 directors that are not out. It's just me. I'm the only director trying to make it work in our department, and there's a lot going on. And this was not the top priority for us. We had a timing that we're in the fall going to go out and hire a zoning expert to not only handle this matter, but several others are working on. And we're really trying to achieve kind of economies of scale here and be efficient with our time and our resources. So it didn't make sense for us to procure that service in the summer. This is the time that we scheduled in the fall to get this work done. Hopefully we can get the shipping container built over the winter. So timing for us and kind of the projects that we had slated did not work out to get it done anytime sooner. And I'm just being real here. You know, I'm tasked with serving the constituents as best as I can, and I know you are too. And I just need help getting this item off the plate. Let us do the work. We're going to work hand in glove with all of you to make sure that the language is sufficient for what we need in the community, and it meets all the regulations. We're not going to, just pull something out of thin air. We're going to work diligently to make sure that this makes sense, and we'll work hard with you to do that.
So I hear you, Mr. Soto. I'm of the belief, though, that if we are essentially what the ask before us is for us to accept $36,000 with the understanding that if we do not approve ordinances with this, that we are then going to be paying that $36,000.
We are not paying $36,000 back. We haven't even received the money.
So, Mr. Soto, so the documents, and I'll stop this, there might be other people that have questions. Mr. Soto, the documents that you presented to us several months ago that was coming from the director of that particular agency, what they stated is that, yes, we can accept the money without ordinances in place. However, it is on us to create these ordinances. And if we do not create these ordinances, then that money would go back. And I know that we went on the budget committee, several of us went back and forth where you stated that that wasn't the case, but what we were reading in the letters that they were sending, that is what essentially they were telling us.
No, I appreciate that, Counselor. Just to be clear, we're receiving $45,000. This was a competitive grant. $45,000 was awarded. We asked for $50,000. $9,000 of that was allocated to do the work for the ordinance language to be changed. $36,000 of that was to build a shipping container. There's no way that we're supposed to finish this ordinance, have it approved. We're looking at the end of the year. In all likelihood, we may not get there, right? If we can't vote on this tonight and we're not in a position to present this and get it approved, we have some holidays in the middle there, we're not going to build the container. It's just, it's just, I'm asking for your confidence tonight that we can move forward and we can work in partnership, right? I know that you want to make sure that the language really matches what we need and you want to feel comfortable with that. You have my word that we'll make that happen. I don't know what else to share to inspire confidence in this process, but.
So I hear you, Mr. Soto. Now I'll leave it here. I think what would inspire confidence for me is seeing words on paper. But I hear what you're saying, and I understand. I think as within my job, I think that one of the things that I look for, especially if we're talking about rules and regulations, for me to sort of give blank approvals on laws for the city, just with the sort of hope that people do the right thing. Unfortunately, I just can't do that. But I hear what you're saying, and I thank you for the work that you're putting into it. I would say that if before us today there was actually something that was on paper for us to take a look at, I think I would be voting differently on this motion, but I appreciate your time and everything that you do for the city. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback. I do want to just one more comment. Just recently, the state did release guidance on outdoor dining ordinances, and that's another resource that we're going to be using to guide our process. There's a few case studies from other cities and towns in the state. So that is a resource that we were eagerly waiting for through the LLRP program. So there's a lot that's going into this. This is not, there's a lot of challenges in that, in crafting something like this, and a lot of feedback that we need to get from local business owners and stakeholders and patrons. So we're putting a lot of thought into this.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, Council President. Mr. Soto, you're going to use this money for the fiscal year 21-22?
I'm sorry, may you repeat that question, Councilor?
Will that money be used for the fiscal year 21-22?
Yes, we received the money. We can receive the money up until the end of this year, calendar year.
And you also planning to make a presentation in about 6 months about this, the use of this money and how it's going to be implemented?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of
Are
what you
you
said.
planning to make a presentation to the City Council in 6 more months in how you're going to be using the money?
Yes, I'm happy to, if I'm hearing you correctly, I'm happy to share a presentation to City Council on how we've used this money. Is that how you?
Then I would like to make a motion to approve.
Second?
There's a motion to approve, it's properly seconded by Councilor Reyes. We're continuing with discussion. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on this matter? I don't see, oh, Councilor Levy, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Soto, for coming back to all, but Councilor Payano said, so we spend a lot of time discussing this item, and we asked, the question, the same things that we're talking right now. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but it's very sad to see that we only want to start on the wrong way. We're going to ask for things to be done, and then people is going to bring to us whatever information we are requesting for. I see that at this point, I'm tired to see it, and we should be doing, things on the right way, that we need to be more transparent and more clear on how we spend the money that is going to come to the city. So we should be doing the thing on the right way since the beginning. So at this point, I think so that we should, I'm sorry, to you, Mr. President, we should table again this until we got the information requested. That's my comment.
If I may just make one comment for clarity here. At our last meeting, for the record here, I was never asked to come back and present language that has been outlined now by Councilor Payano and Councilor Levy. If I would have been instructed to do that, I would have done that happily. But that was not, I was on my own timeline. They were working through the department. That was never asked of me. And I just want to submit that for the record. Everything that we do with public dollars is for the benefit of the community, and we do that responsibly. We can't pass an ordinance without your assistance, folks here on the council. So, I just want to stress to the public that in the council, we try our best to make things as clear as possible and spend money responsibly. So I'm not asking for a blank check on anything. There's limited dollars coming in. We have to use it for these two things. And I'm asking for your support so we can go and do those things so that we can serve the public. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you so much. So there's a motion by Councilor Levy to table. It has not been seconded yet. Is there a second to table?
Second.
Motion's been made and it's been properly seconded. No discussion on the table matters. Roll call vote, please.
So the second was Councilor Payano?
Correct.
Vice President Reyes, absent. Councilor Rodriguez.
Absent.
He's not there.
Counselor Rodriguez? Okay, Counselor De La Cruz?
The no is
This is on the motion to table.
no to table.
Counselor Payano?
Yes.
Counselor Abdu?
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
No.
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Levy?
Yes.
President LaPlante?
No.
Counselor Rodriguez? He's gone? Okay. So Counselor Rodriguez is absent. So there are 2 absent, there are 3 noes, and there are 4 yeses.
Motion fails for lack of a fifth. Motion on the floor remains the motion to approve. Any further discussion on the motion to approve? Hearing none, seeing none. Clerk, please, this is again a motion to approve. Clerk, please call the roll.
On the motion to approve, Counselor Levy?
Yes.
Did you get that?
No, I didn't.
Ask her. I don't know, ask her again.
Counselor Levy?
So the motion to approve is to table, no?
No.
Okay. No. No.
No, okay.
Yep.
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Abdu?
Present.
Counselor Payano?
No.
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 Counselor De La Cruz?
Yes.
Counselor Rodriguez? Absent. Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. President LaPlante?
No. What's the final roll?
3 yes, 3 no, 1 present, 2 absent.
The motion fails. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Only because Mr. Abdu is leaving. He gets a second on this. No further. Counselor Gonzalez, seconded by Counselor Abdu. No further discussion. I'll call the clerk. Please call the roll.
Vice President Estela Reyes, absent. Counselor Rodriguez, absent. Counselor De La Cruz?
Yes.
Counselor Payano? Counselor Payano?
Yes.
Counselor Abdu?
Yes.
Counselor Selena Reyes?
Yes.
Counselor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Counselor Levy?
Yes.
President LaPlante?
Yes. Good night, everybody.
I had 2 minutes, and I prepared to hang up and vote against it.
Of course you were.
That's why the table matter, no, you shouldn't get a